Hello and welcome to the next episode of my Learn With Me Opsix series. So far I think we've covered a large proportion of the features of the synthesizer, at least in the abstract. But from a sound design perspective, we've only just covered 4-operator sound design and we've demonstrated a process. This episode I'd like to take that a little further and I'd like to design a sound using 6 operators. So let's start by thinking of the type of sound that we would like. I'm picturing something where we're going to have a layering of various timbres and they are going to be sort of different lengths. So one of them is going to give way to the other. So as we go through the tail of the sound, the timbre is going to shift, and it's not going to shift just in a sort of enveloped fashion. There's going to be something more to it. So I think it will be something that you could play kind of like a keys sound, but maybe something where if you add some effects to it, it can function as a pad as well. So what algorithm do I want for that? Well, my inclination is typically to default to something which will have as many carriers as I want components of the sound, and I could easily do it with 2 components, 3 components, but I'm going to try 4 because I use those less. So I'm going to look for an algorithm with 4 carriers. There won't be very many because with 4 carriers you don't have very many topologies that are available. Okay, I think this is an interesting one. So we have 4 carriers, operators 1, 2, 4, and 5, and operators 1 and 2 are both modulated by operator 3, and operators 4 and 5 are both modulated by operator 6. So this is a slightly different configuration to what I was imagining, but that's perfectly fine. So let's start by turning those all down, and let's start with just 1 operator. So this is the sort of purest, plainest of these sounds, and this is the one that I'm guessing is going to last the longest. So I'm going to set this to have a sort of long decay, 10-second decay, and a 2-second release. Whoops, I did that on operator 4. Let's try and do that on operator 1 instead. Said 10-second decay, 2-second release. I'm always surprised with how nice these things can sound with nothing else going on. But now I'm going to layer another sound onto that, which is going to be this operator 2, and I'm going to tune this above the first one. Let me. So at the moment the envelope shape on this is quite different. So remember on operator 1 I had a 10-second decay time. So this one I want a shorter decay time. So let's turn the sustain down. Let's give this an 8-second decay. And how long was the release on the previous one? 2 seconds. I think the release can also be 2 seconds here. Let's say 1.5 seconds. That's good. So I'm thinking these next 2 operators, I've done 1 and 2. I might just use these powers of 2 harmonics. So let's go for 4th and 6th. So this is. So now I remember I did 10 seconds, 8 seconds, so I might do 6 seconds and 4 seconds just to see how it sounds. So operator 4 can have this 6-second decay and then a 1-second release. And operator 5 can have a 4-second decay and a 1/2-second release. So let's just listen to that. Already I quite like the way that sounds. I would like to add a little bit more shape to it in terms of velocity expression. So first I'm going to make the highest pitch ones the most velocity sensitive, going down to less velocity sensitive at the low ones. That means if I strike it lightly, I'm going to hear a lot of this, and as I strike it harder, these are going to come in more. So actually I'm going to turn these higher harmonics up a little bit. So then the velocity, when it tames them, it still gets loud. So let's go back. Operator 1, velocity sensitivity. Let's go 20. Let's go 30. And whoops, wrong one. And 40 and 50. Let's just see how that sounds. I think I want a more extreme differentiation there, so let's go, this was 20, so let's go, this could be 35. Next one can be 50, and then the next one can be 65. Let's try again. So these pure tones, I think I'd like to detune them a little bit, just to add a little bit of movement. So let's go into pitch, and we have a detune control. So operator 1, detune. Let's leave that one tuned true. The next one can go down a cent, 4 can go down 2 cents, 5 can go down 3 cents. Let's listen. Okay. Remember, we've not actually done any FM so far. This is just the sum of 4 sine waves, and it's already got something interesting about it. Now for some FM though. So first I'm going to bring in operator 3, and these are tuned at 1 and 2, so I think I'm going to tune this to 3. So it's not in tune. It's going to bring in some more unusual harmonics, and these are 4 and 8. So I might bring this in at 11. So I'm looking for sort of prime factors here, or they're just prime numbers, but I want to make sure that these are co-prime with those to add maximum timbral complexity. But that's going to mean that I need the envelopes short, or I need the levels low, because this is going to add a lot of brightness. So let's listen. So I'm now going to make operator 3 function as a bit of a transient on this sound. Velocity sensitivity wise, I would like this to be very velocity sensitive, probably even more velocity sensitive than this one was. So let's say this can be 75 on the velocity sensitivity scale. Okay, I like the sound. Let's experiment with 6. I think this is gonna... So it's very bright because it's tuned 11 times the frequency of that. So I'm gonna make this one into a very short pluck. I'm gonna turn these two down temporarily. Bring them back to... I quite like that it's not that velocity sensitive, so I might only give it pretty small velocity sensitivity. was no D there that I tried to play. Anyway, I think that's sounding a little more interesting, but what I think it's missing is some movement in the sound. So how am I going to add some movement? Well, first, modulations here. So we have access to one modulation that's designed to go along with the filter, and we have another LFO, which I'll set to a different, so it's that 1.1, 1.3. So I have LFO2 and LFO3 running at different rates. What I would like to do is make one move the filter, which I haven't actually used yet. I'm also going to need to increase the speed of that. And then level, let's see. Yeah, so I can do the level using LFO1 and I can apply that to all the operators or all the carriers. So I guess I'll do that. So now level, LFO1. So let's see what we think. Most on voice 1, so that's 20. This one can be 15. This can be 10. Oops, and this one can be 5. That's interesting because the filter on the modulation of the filter is slower, you can hear this main vibration and this other pulsating coming in and out. So it almost sounds like we have a delay going on. It's not actually a delay, it's simply a modulation that's happening while the decay and the release are happening. So I'm very pleased with that sound. So now I'll open the filter a little bit. Maybe I'll add a bit of envelope on the filter. Maybe I'll make that velocity sensitive too. So an interesting thing that kind of struck me here is this sound. It feels very broad, it feels very full. Maybe I'll experiment adding a unison here, a little unison detune. I don't want too much of the unison detune here. quite interesting. Maybe I'll just throw some effects in there while I'm here. So let's listen to the chorus. Okay, bit of reverb, bit of chorus. Turn the effects down a little bit. So I think that's completed a 6-operator FM design process. There are other parameters which we can use. We could have picked different algorithms, but I think we produced something like what I was looking for. When I was introducing those modulations, I was thinking something like a tremolo effect, and having the phasing and the different frequencies of the filter modulation and the envelope amplitude modulation. I think it works very nicely. If I was going to continue designing this sound, I'd probably add a little more expression on the velocity. I'd probably add something for the mod wheel, so as I could have a variation in tone. One of the things that I quite like to do from a sound design perspective is have the mod wheel go to something which is almost like a completely different patch. Not totally, but quite different. So it allows the user to pick an intermediate stage in that mod wheel and leave it sitting there. Obviously, for something like a lead, I want that to be a performance expression, but often when I'm making a timbrally complex patch, I actually like to use that as a fine-tuning parameter where somebody who doesn't understand the sound necessarily can simply move that and they can hear a difference. So one thing that you might imagine, for example, is let's make more of the high end and less of the low end. Versus, so we could do something like that, and we could increase the overall level when we did that, and we could maybe open the filter a bit more. So then we would have two variations, one with this body to it, and one okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do it because I already quite enjoy how that sounded. So, mod matrix. I want mod wheel to filter cutoff. And now what's going to happen? The mod wheel is going to lower operator 1 the most, operator 2 a little bit, raise operator 4 a little bit, operator 5 more. So let's go to the mod matrix again. Mod wheel, mod wheel, mod wheel, mod wheel. Operator 1, operator 2, operator 4, operator 5. Just the level, 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 level. And this one I want it to decrease significantly, so goes down to 75%. This one I want it to decrease maybe 50%. This one I want to increase 15% maybe. This one I want to increase 50%. So now you can hear when I set it to the max, another thing that I might like to do is when I go to that level, I might like to increase the overall volume because it's a little bit quiet at that end. So mod wheel to program level. Okay, so I've gone from what I was originally planning and I illustrated a little more of what I was talking about. So now this modulation control, I didn't do it in a very refined manner, but it's a timbre shift that's quite extreme. So the user can find where they want to play. And they can extract multiple tones, which from a performance perspective is very, very convenient. Okay, so despite going back and revisiting what I was talking about there, hopefully this has been useful to you. It's demonstrated using all 6 operators. It's demonstrated a design process starting from a basic concept, moving to an actual execution of a design. I hope you have enjoyed this series so far. I hope you'll join me for some more of this series, where I learn more about the synthesizer and I learn to get the best out of it. In the next episode, probably I'm going to examine the user algorithms, so hopefully that will be interesting to you. But in any case, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching and goodbye.